Okay, so shit hasn't been going well for Elon Musk. Ever since he became Donald Trump's head of government efficiency, or Doge, wonder who came up with that one, it's all been downhill from there. He's fought with Steve Bannon, who represents the farther right political cultural base. More recently, he's started shit with Asmongold, who represents the vibe-based right, but not necessarily conservative. And of course, he did that stupid supposed Nazi salute, which I'm guessing is only the beginning, because Trump has only just barely started his presidency. And in this video, I'll be discussing the events, their effects, and what I think of the whole thing. Elon is a rich guy who owns several large businesses like X and SpaceX, and is possibly the richest guy on Earth. So naturally his interests would be more aligned with the Republican Party. But despite that, he voted for Joe Biden in 2020.
Do I believe Biden won? Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him?
I did, actually.
Do you regret that?
I mean, man.
One of the things this tells us is that he's personally probably not one of the most conservative people in the world, like compared to Steve Bannon, which makes sense because he considers himself a centrist type figure, so much so that he literally voted against his financial incentives. But then in 2024, he loudly supported Trump, and became the most involved he's probably ever been in politics within MAGA. In 2022, he sent out this tweet saying he voted for Democrats because they were the, quote, kindness party. But they changed and now he supports Republicans. I think what he might be getting at here was the mid-2010s rise of political extremism and the rise of the far left. A theory being that during Obama's second term, and particularly with the rise of Black Lives Matter, wokeism or woke emerged, which called for a more chauvinistic left, particularly with race and gender stuff, that treated the right and especially white men as sexist, racist, homophobic, etc., etc., etc. Saying things like you can't be racist against white men, which is the sort of dehumanizing the left was believed to be standing against.
I mean, it's like one hoax after another that they're perpetrating against Trump. I mean, like, they try to call the rally at Madison Square Gardens like a Nazi rally. I'm like, yo, there was like literally an Israeli flag in the audience. I think like a quarter of the speakers were Jewish. Like there were people of every race, color, creed, religion at that rally. Like, tell me what about that is Nazi?
No,
and yet it was portrayed as a Nazi rally. And
well, MSNBC, they literally showed video of the Nazi rally from 1930s and then compared it to the Trump rally.
They also liked canceling right-wing people, getting them removed from social media, deplatforming them. And it could be argued that this chauvinistic left helped contribute to the rise of Donald Trump.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. And I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Like Ben Shapiro and Ethan Klein, two pundits with probably not much in common, both saw this idea of the chauvinistic left.
And finally, as the last person who goes in that F category, there are two more for the F category. One is going to be Barack Obama. Between 2008 and 2012, Barack Obama morphed from a president who sort of campaigned on almost a Clintonian third way as a guy who wasn't for red states and not blue states, but the United States. And in 2012, he went just hardcore intersectionality. Anybody who opposes me is a racist. America can be divvied into various victimized groups that can be cobbled together in a new rising ascendant majority against the old America is extremely damaging. And I think that is going to be the future of American politics for quite a while. I think the Democratic Party never quite got over the Obama coalition of 2012. They've been trying to pursue it ever since. And it has broken American politics in ways large and small. So Obama goes in that bottom category.
Who makes the case for free speech?
That's one of the things I want to talk to you about. And by the way, I consider myself like a very left-leaning, classical, progressive person. And it's confusing because growing up, the left was always the party of free speech, I felt like. I always felt like I was on the right side of social issues. But as time has progressed since I finished college, more and more I feel alienated by my own political identity.
Yeah,
and I find myself more in terms of free speech, like you said, the people on the right are the ones that invite you. And so I'm confused. I think a lot of people feel the same way who grew up like classical progressives, but feeling alienated from their own political home.
And this, I'm guessing, wore Elon down, especially the free speech stuff, which Elon considers himself a free speech absolutist, and criticized Twitter for being left-leaning, and silencing conservative voices like Donald Trump, who was banned on Twitter over January 6th.
growing up as a person who was in the left my whole life, it doesn't make any
same.
fucking sense.
Same. I mean, I was on the left until like 3 years ago. Like, I mean, you know,
It's not the left anymore.
It's not the left anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like I think we obviously want. I mean, I believe like we want freedom. Like we want to maximize personal liberty. I think we want to be kind to people. You know, we want to have empathy.
You really think that they'll be able to shut it down, though? Is there a
Yes.
pathway to that?
Yes.
What would they do?
Well, I mean, they can sick the DOJ on you know, and say like, you know, they've had this whole thing about like hate speech, misinformation, whatever. Except that they're the ones pushing the misinformation, but that doesn't stop them from filing massive, you know, lawsuits and using the DOJ. I mean, like the DOJ is, you know, been attacking SpaceX, for example, for not hiring asylum seekers, even though it is legal for SpaceX to hire anyone who's not a permanent resident of the U.S. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Like, one of the most important forms of journalism
Yes.
is exposing government corruption.
Yes, I mean, this is the weird thing. It's like the left used to be big on exposing government corruption, but once they control the government, they no longer want to expose the government corruption.
Right. They want to pretend that the left-wing government's incapable
Yes.
of corruption because
Yes.
we're on the good side.
I think it maybe just like, you know, whoever's in power kind of doesn't want the other side heard. Because as you pointed out, like the left historically, up until, I don't know, maybe even 10 years ago or something like that, was the free speech party. And now it's the anti-free speech party. And they use words like, oh, well, we have to be against hate speech and misinformation, disinformation. But these are propaganda words. You know, it's like, well, who's defining hate speech? Who's defining misinformation? The government? Do you really trust the government to make
Right.
that definition? The whole point of the of the First Amendment is like, you do not trust the government. The bedrock of democracy. That's why freedom of speech is the First Amendment. Once you lose freedom of speech, you lose democracy. Game over. That's why I bought Twitter.
On that topic, Musk is also scared for American democracy, and he thought America would be destabilized as a result of Kamala Harris winning.
So, well, I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Obviously, I view this election as a turning point, like a fork in the road of destiny that is incredibly important. You know, I've not been politically active until this election, and the reason I've been politically active this election is because I think if we don't elect Trump, I think we will lose. We will lose democracy in this country. We will lose the two-party system. I'm just like saying this is a message to the men out there: vote like your life depends on it, because I think it does. Vote tomorrow like your life depends on it. Nothing is more important.
Other than free speech, he also thought this over crime, immigration, and pro-DEI policy.
And our cities are unsafe and dirty. You know, my mom was telling me, my mom's like pretty red pilled at this point. But you know what's going to red pill you really, really fast is having your friends get assaulted on the streets of New York.
Yeah.
And that happened to 3 of her friends this year. You got assaulted on the streets of New York, just walking around.
Yeah.
Nobody got arrested. Nothing happened.
Well, the morale of the police is like depleted.
Yeah,
substantially.
For sure, the morale of the police gets depleted, and then also like at some point, like if you're a police officer and you're arresting someone who's violent, you're putting your life at risk, obviously, because they might, you know, sometimes they'll try to kill you, and then if you know that arresting this violent person, they will be immediately released by the DA, which happens in New York. Alvin Bragg doesn't prosecute people. Then why should a police officer put their life at risk to arrest someone when they know they will just be let out immediately?
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
It's like the friggin' Joker. It's like, you know, Dark Knight. Like the friggin' Joker is in charge.
Yeah.
Like the criminals run free, and the citizens are arrested. That like, this is why I like keep going back to this like still pretty shook about the freaking squirrel thing. It's like, they sort of at gunpoint forced the guy to like stay outside his house while they got his pets and killed them. Meanwhile, violent felons are running free, and this is in New York State, are running free. This is a joker.
Yeah, it's not.
The law-abiding citizens are arrested, and the criminals are let free. This is fucked up, guys. There's only like six or seven swing states. The margin of victory in those states is small, often like 10 or 20,000 votes. What the Democrat administration has been doing is importing vast numbers of illegals into swing states. You can look at the numbers on the actual government website, meaning you don't take my word for it. You'll just look at the numbers as reported by the government, which is controlled by the Democrats. And what we're seeing is triple-digit increases in the number of illegals in every swing state. In some cases, 700% increases. These are gigantic numbers. So if you have a state that has a 10 or 20,000 vote margin, and you put 200,000 illegals into that state, you 10x you swamp it's not a swing state anymore. It's going to vote blue, and then once the swing states vote blue, there is no election anymore. There's only a Democrat primary. Like the thing is, one does not need actually any grand conspiracy theory for this. You just have to look at the simple matter of incentives. If the Democrat Party wants to win, like basically achieve permanent victory, all they need to do is turn the swing states blue. They have permanent victory, and then we're a one-party state, and then they will keep doing that. Obviously, they will keep stacking the deck by bringing in vast numbers of illegals into the swing states. Keep stacking it so that the next election, each successive election, will be worse than the last one. And that's what's happening. If you want to see, like, well, is this actually going to happen? Well, look at California. California is supermajority Dem, 70% Dem. A month ago, they passed a law making it illegal to show ID in any election in California. So a friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto because he was like, "Is this for real?" He tried to show his ID, and they reacted like if you show a cross to a vampire. Okay, they're like, "No, we can't even look at that ID." It is illegal for them to even look at your ID if you want to present it in California.
Why?
For any election at all, even like city council.
What logical reason other than to cheat would you ever have that law?
The reason is to cheat.
It's only like you can never make an argument any other way. And I think 84% of people polled believe that you should show ID to vote. So it's against the will of the people.
Yes, and we are extremely rare. We're an outlier in not requiring ID. You're not a real country unless you have secure borders. You're just a fake country. But it's very important to have personal freedom and a merit-based society. And the left wants to oppress your freedoms, especially freedom of speech, and they want to have a non-merit-based society, with race-based and sex-based preferences. And it's like, well, wait a second. No, we just want people to succeed based on their skills and their hard work, and that you succeed as a function of your hard work and talent, not anything else, not race, religion, sex, doesn't matter,
Yes.
The basic stuff, and then.
What did you change the acronym DEI? What did you change it to?
Oh, DIE.
What is it?
Die.
Now you could ignore all this and go, well, he's an attention whore, do anything for fame, and he joined the right, who is typically less hostile towards rich people in general. Like Joe Rogan, who kisses Elon's ass.
First of all,
both in all directions.
Thank you so much for buying Twitter.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. I really do. I really think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control. What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like what they were doing with the laptop story. We have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation. Take it offline. And Twitter complied. If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly.
And yeah, there's probably truth to that, But at the end of the day, this is just speculation, and I try to take people at their word. And if you're going to completely ignore his self-stated reasons for leaving the left, you're not doing political conversation any favors, and you're alienating potential allies of yours, and the left should be especially wary of this. Anyway, so Musk's beef with Steve Bannon and the farther right part of the Republican Party and American conservatives was inevitable, but the way he handled the whole thing made it a million times worse. Musk supports the use of H-1B visas, which allows workers typically seen as working in higher class occupations or higher skilled occupations requiring degrees to work and live in America via being tethered to an American employer. Of course, this is pro-immigration in a way, and if you're explicitly pro-immigration, you're probably not in the right. This isn't a golden rule, considering Trump himself has been weird rhetorically on immigration.
Border, sorry, sir.
I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need people, and I'm absolutely fine with it. We want to have it. We need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to avoid tariffs. You know, if you don't want tariffs, all you have to do is build your plant in the U.S., so we're going to have a lot of workers coming in, but we have to have legal immigration.
But ultimately, he's still mostly anti-immigration in practice, and generally it shouldn't be what you're known for. And if Musk had just been quieter about the whole thing, it might have blown over if it was discovered, and the right might have shrugged and said, well, he's a rich guy, but he's on our side. But the fact that he chose to fight people online, and that he had Trump spouting pro-visa shit, showed that it was already a lost cause. As previously mentioned, he fought Steve Bannon, who wants to deport H-1B visa holders, and who has a vendetta against Elon personally.
I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Oh yeah, tough guy? You're going to go to war on the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. You're a man-child. The H-1B visa program is a total and complete scam concocted by the lords of easy money on Wall Street and the oligarchs in Silicon Valley. The citizens in this country are what provided the platform for you nerds even to exist. We're not going to take the temperature down. We're not going to take the temperature down. Oh no, oh no, oh no. We do not, it's no backing down, it's doubling down.
Bannon is now going nuclear on Elon Musk over his support for H-1B visas and even swore to personally drive Musk out of Donald Trump's inner circle in a recent conversation that he had. Bannon continued, he will do anything to make sure that any one of his companies is protected or has a better deal or he makes more money. His aggregation of wealth and then through wealth, power. That's what he's focused on. Finally, Bannon says, we have been fighting this fight for 10 years. We are going to expose the entire corruption of the American system, of how money controls everything, and hopefully will inspire you in Italy to wake up. No blacks or Hispanics have had any of these jobs or any access to these jobs. And Bannon even went so far as to say that, get a load of this, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, Elon Musk, are all white South Africans. He should go back to South Africa. Why do we have South Africans, the most racist people on earth, white South Africans? We have them making any comments at all on what goes on in the United States.
What an unbelievable statement that was. Yes, I'm going to generalize and accuse an entire color of people within a country of being racist. What a strong statement that was. Anyway, you could say that Bannon has already made good in his promises, considering Vivek Ramaswamy, Musk's other biggest political ally, and who happens to have a similar reputation now considering his own controversial tweets and similar stance on H-1B visas, got booted out of Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency. It was possibly over a potential Ohio governor run, which would take up too much of his time, but on top of his stance on the visas, his insulting of American workers versus foreign workers, and being part of that shadowy upper-class cabal Bannon was raving about earlier, with him being a business guy before running for politics. I can't imagine it was that hard of a decision for anyone involved. And that was like day one. The Department of Government Efficiency isn't even a real department authorized by Congress, so it's not like it's on stable ground. Considering Musk's temperament and how he's used to getting his ass kissed all the time, and disappointments with Doge already, I wouldn't be surprised if the criticism got to him, and he steps down at some point. The other thing that had people turn against Musk was when he went after Asmongold and called him a fake gamer and claimed he wasn't acting of his own volition, but is actually a bitch boy that does whatever his bosses tell him to.
Asmon behaves like a maverick independent, but in reality has to ask his boss for permission before he can do anything. He is not his own man. And so anyway, what he's referring to is he's referring to a conversation we had. I said, I'm going to see if my editors want to make a second account for it even. This was in response to uploading content onto Twitter. And he says, sure, who are these mysterious editors? And then these, leaked. He says, of course, interesting. Crip got in trouble. I got in trouble. Quinn didn't get in trouble. Quinn made the fucking video. That's not fucking fair. Now, what happens after this? I'm not really sure. Am I a security threat to the United States? Maybe. Why do you unfollow you? I would assume that since I am not following him either right now, I would assume that he soft blocked me, which means that he probably blocked me and then unblocked me, which made it to where I don't follow him, and he also doesn't follow me. I will have to tell you that the last time that happened to me was with an angry ex-girlfriend.
And this was after Elon got accused of faking being a top Diablo player by having people play for him, and then he tries to prove that he is actually great by playing himself, even though he's accused of being not great at it. Which is definitely a great plan, right?
Everybody was wondering, why is it that Elon Musk cares so much about H-1B visas? This explains it. He wants to get the people that are playing his accounts into America so he doesn't have IP address conflicts and get his account flagged. Now everything makes sense.
What about the maps in his inventory? He's trying to click. It's grayed out. He's not played this before, has he? He's 100% getting piloted. He isn't. What? He's clearly played and understands the mechanics, though, like the basic mechanics. But dude, you're not playing to this point in the game with no live filter, leaving Cassops on the ground. He literally didn't know how to open a map. He was keep clicking repeatedly. He couldn't open the map. He does. That's the one thing he picks up as maps. Or he tries to. What's he gonna do? Oh, he's still clicking. Dude, what is he doing?
Oh man. Why would you stream this? It's because none of it matters.
He's dragging them over, bro. What? Oh, dude, he's dragging the maps over. He's dragging, bro. It's Joe Biden playing. What the?
Even if Musk himself is actually innocent of the charge of being a fake gamer, optically, accusing Asmongold of being something similar just looks terrible for you when he was already losing allies, especially on the right. But what a beautiful irony, right? Musk claimed Asmongold as being piloted, only to show himself not living up to his top-tier gamer status, and instead that he likely had someone else pilot his account to get there. Now obviously, the gaming part of this doesn't really matter, but I really want to emphasize how he's gone out of his way to destroy his public image. Even just 3 years ago, he was still featured in a positive light in popular meme channels.
Imagine yourself in paradise. Picture the beautiful beaches, the crystal clear waters, the breeze on your face. You open up your phone. You upvote the first chonker meme you see. Life is perfect. All of this could be possible. With your help, we can create a paradise with no TikTokers, no Instagrammers, and monuments to both Keanu Reeves and Elon Musk. A society of only Redditors. Welcome to Reddit Island.
He went from being a mostly liked high-tech space guy that really nobody hated, to being a partisan Republican guy who cared more about stability and anti-extremism than anything else. And then he alienated Republicans too by getting overly defensive and cracking under the pressure. I'm getting a whiplash from reading these two tweets back to back. He went from being the kindness party guy to the go fuck yourself guy. Jesus. And of course, recently, there was the whole thing about the Nazi salute, which is a joke, obviously. He's not actually a Nazi, I would imagine. It's a bullshit charge. I don't know why he did that particular motion. I guess he was just showing appreciation to the crowd and did a gesture that was motioning toward them in a respect sort of way. But in the context of the previously established controversies, it's not going to do him any favors, that's for sure. Leftists acted like it was real, because of course. Like Destiny retweeted this, which was actually pretty funny. But some people on the right said it was stupid, even though they had plenty reason not to defend Musk at this point. It's important to emphasize this because it's not like he has no supporters, and I would go as far as to say the people most outraged by his supposed Nazi salute are also probably terminally online. And I think many of them would agree with that. Rightists, like Charlie Kirk, said it was ridiculous, and said that leftists are trying to paint Musk as a racist like they do with everything. Which, yeah, I mean that's exactly what they're doing. For the time being, good faith politics is dead, dude. Ben Shapiro also retweeted someone replying to someone else, saying that Musk shouldn't clarify that he's not a Nazi, because that would only play into the terminally online shit. Ultimately, he did basically say that he wasn't a Nazi in his own way, which I guess was the right move. If not, that might have hung over him. There really wasn't a good way to go about all this, but it just goes to show you how far this guy's public reputation has fallen, that he feels the need to clarify that he's not a Nazi. His best move at this point is to cozy up to the right in a more careful way, i.e. by not pissing them off constantly, which he may be capable of at this point, but we'll see.